You know who's not going to get their number retired?
Who?
Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee. He's not getting his number retired.
Give us your takes, Steve. Give us your take on that.
Right? Steve?
The more I read and learn about this, I feel some sympathy for Nico. He is the pawn in this chess piece. He's the labor. And a lot of these moves were made by the upper management. And yeah, it's not all on him. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve any of the criticism, because when he didn't answer that call from Josh Heupel, that cooked him. That was it.
He's going to be the trendsetter for this trend, though.
Well, I saw a video from Clemson Football Live, their host, and the title was, "Did Josh Heupel save college football?" And I was like, what? And I'm listening to the video, and this guy made a lot of good points. I think what Josh Heupel really did was he staved off the current anarchy that was about to take place if he would have capitulated. Right. Now, here's the issue that I have with the family and his representatives and his agents. You guys made a deal. Everyone knew it was 8 years over the college career, right? They didn't complain when they got paid well the freshman season when he played the bowl game. They didn't give back money. Here's the other problem. I get that the market changed, but, you know, you were actually getting your money. A lot of kids didn't. The other thing was, and this is important, this is on Nico. He didn't play well last year. He really didn't. If you break down his numbers from the overall numbers to against P4 competition to the SEC and to the 6 toughest games, when people say he was the quarterback of a playoff team, yeah, technically he was right, but the best offensive weapon was Dylan Sampson. And why did they make the playoffs? It's because he had James Pierce and Omar Norman Lott up front. And another guy that's going to be drafted.
Here's the issue, though, and I've been telling Smitty this for a while, and I've been on this tip for quite a while. We just had one of my boys in here, or before Matt, Coach Rico. You met him, I think, Steve, here at a party. But here's the thing. We set these kids up for failure at 17 years old when we offered him $8 million to go to Tennessee and play Alabama when he only played high school teams named fucking Warren and Downey.
I'm with you, but Coach,
let's be honest,
that's
man.
The market's the market. And speaking of the Bama game,
but
Smitty,
I'm saying,
well, Coach, let's not make excuses. If he was your quarterback, you'd cuss him out. He overthrew so many deep shots.
No doubt.
So I don't care
I wouldn't pay him either, though.
No, but Coach, I don't care who the he played in high school. That's irrelevant. You took the money. You're the number one. Now you got to play. That's the reality. Let's be football people here for a second. When you watch him play, I heard TJ Houshmandzadeh. I like TJ. And I get that he knows the family. I don't want to hear that Josh Heupel does not prepare guys for the pros and his system. It's not his job. His system is so quarterback friendly. It got Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton drafted. It had Hendon Hooker in the Heisman Trophy discussion 2 years ago. Now, Smitty, you were with us, I believe, with Shaun King came over.
Yep.
JB was hosting and I was there. We watched that Alabama game. Watch that game again. Nico Iamaleava left 21 points on the table. He threw a bad red zone interception that he had no business throwing. The Arkansas game, you're down by 1 score. You have 1 play left. You know how that game ended, Smitty?
How?
He ran out of bounds. Didn't even throw the ball. That has nothing to do with where he came from. Show a little football IQ. And the other thing is, I don't think a young man from Downey did not understand what the SEC football culture was. They give a damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is my point, though. The kid takes the SEC team to, and I'm just defending all these kids in this scenario, and this is why I'm so pro-kid on this particular deal, not this situation. Nico should have had his ass at practice. I already told his own daddy that. Here's the issue I have, though. We put these kids on a pedestal from the jump, and then we're going to be pissed at them. So what? Let me ask you, Steve. Then,
but they took the money.
What are we going to be saying if this motherfucker don't go to the playoffs last year? Like, see what I'm saying? We're gonna belittle the shit out of the kid. He would have been in the shitter.
He got paid all that money, didn't do nothing.
Coach,
right? Yeah.
He was not the most important cog of that offense. 11 of his 19 touchdown passes came against UTEP, Chattanooga, Vanderbilt, and another
But Steve, he got an SEC team into the Final 12. Like the bottom line is, you just said it. You're worth your money.
I could make an argument that he limited them and he put them in a position of having to play Ohio State in the horseshoe.
I agree with that, but the bottom line is he's one of 12, and he's going to ask for one of 12 money. That's what we said.
And to the credit of
the NFL, I mean, we talk about Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, some of these cats who are not the top of the top, but they're the leaders of their team that won.
Steve, you know me, Steve. I don't think none of them are worth this shit.
Okay, but the market is the market, and here's the thing about the Heupel system. It's an extreme spread. It's not just like a regular spread. They run they're really lined up wide. They run a lot of stack sets with the receivers. They do a lot of switch releases. And he's going to put you in position. And this is where I agree with TJ. The wide receiver route tree in that system limits you. It does. You're not fully prepared as a wide receiver. But as a quarterback, if you cannot master that system, with those simple reads and relatively simple throws, that's alarming. Because if you watch Iamaleava, he missed more post patterns that were buck-ass wide open than any quarterback I have ever seen. As I told Whitlock, he could overthrow the Empire State Building. He left so many points on the board because go routes are running wide open, and he doesn't get the ball there.
I just think that this is not just Nico. I told he should have been at practice. That's the bottom line. You committed to a contract or whatever it was. I don't know the details. You should have had your ass at practice. Here's the issue I have, though. These are with kids in general. We pay them an absorbent amount of money before they ever put a cleat on for that particular institution. And this is what is going to basically eliminate the 5-star QB from being recruited out of high school. And it's either going to force them JUCO or, and this is why I'm saying this, these Division I, these big time schools are going to live in the portal. And all they're going to do is they're going to do a roller coaster ride around the country. And they're going to end up being they're only going to take portal kids. Number one, they're going to probably be cheaper because it's going to be a one and done. And then number two, you know what you have. There's Division I football film out there. So these high school kids getting paid this much money that we've never seen put a cleat on yet at that level is setting these cats up for.
Well, there is a belief you are better off just going to get the rental. Don't put all your money into a 5-star quarterback. And Danny Money from Canes Insight's been saying that for a year and a half, 2 years. If you look at the 2023 top 10 quarterbacks, you know, Arch Manning's about the only guy at the current school.
Yeah.
Malachi Nelson's not there. Jaden Rashad is on his third school. Dante Moore was at UCLA for about 15 minutes. I mean, look at that list. And so you're better off actually saying, okay, because you're right, Coach. I don't believe any incoming high school player, there's no NIL there. Who the hell knows them?
I wouldn't pay him a dime.
Right. And so you take a look at this situation, but now Tennessee has to go into the portal unless they really like Merklinger, and I think they like him. They didn't like him for this year, and they still have some talent.
And Steve, I don't like. I've heard and read what you've said about the portal, and I think the portal is the absolute. That's the devil in this whole thing. Like, if you eliminate that, you can pay the kids $1 billion. I don't give a shit. I'm not pocket checking these kids money. You can pay them whatever you want if you don't let them leave. If you don't let them leave, pay them whatever you want and make their ass compete. Make their fucking ass stay there.
Go back to the rule that was 5 years ago. You have to sit out a year. That deterrent alone kept a lot of kids there. But look, this is now an inflection point is what I'm hearing. And I hope the coaches have enough guts to say, okay, we're drawing a line. Let's blackball a kid if we have to send a message.
That's my point. Is this Dan Lanning setting a new precedent where it used to be a gentleman's agreement among thieves? Because we're all thieves.
Dan Lanning, he obviously agrees with Charleston White. Snitching is good. Yeah.
I know, JB, you would like that. Appreciate that.
Well, no, that's my point, though. This used to be normal behavior, Smitty. We used to have a gentleman's agreement amongst thieves, is what we called it, because we all stole from each other. But we had a gentleman's agreement like, hey, Steve, Smitty's shopping on you guys, and I'm not going to fucking touch him, but I'm just letting you know so you know. And then maybe that coach told me, AJ, go ahead and have him. Or, hey, man, I'm not touching this kid. Because Steven, you and I actually had this conversation. When is the coach going to say, no, I don't want you. You're not coming here, Nico? Like, that's the problem why this thing keeps resurfacing, because these coaches are taking these cats.
There's no doubt that because we are enabling that, or they are. And boy, I've actually heard that there's a chance that Nico may end up at a lesser school for less money.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee
I'm like,
you,
wow,
that's for a mill.
That didn't work out well. I love what Mario Cristobal said after our spring game on Saturday.
We got a video too, Steve.
Oh, Mario.
I haven't heard it.
Let's hear this. Let's hear this.
I'm going to do that at Miami. And I say that without any hesitation. If anyone's thinking that, and they could be the best player in the world, if they want to play holdout, they might as well play get out. We don't want to do that. We don't want Miami to become that. Too many guys have sweated, bled, have laid on the line on that field to ever become that kind of a program.
Want to play holdout? Might as well play get out.
Oh, Mario, you are acting like a great American and a serious football coach.
And you know what, Steve? What we're doing is we're just doing what we used to do forever. We're so numb to this. Now this is being some sort of like outside the box thinking. It's really normal shit to me. I would never. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Here's my message to Coach Cristobal. Number one, now we got to stand on that. We cannot capitulate. We got to live with this. Blood in, blood out. Now, for full transparency, it was the spring ball of 2023. We had a new coordinator, Shannon Dawson. We bring in the air raid. Tyler Van Dyke, after a rough 22, looks pretty good on a Friday night. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to work. Several days later, Andrew Van Dyke, who was one of the first big money NIL deals I think Miami ever really did, he started going shopping. And then he was linked to Alabama. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. You went through all of spring ball. You participated in the spring game. And now you're basically, I don't say holding us for ransom, but he was holding us for ransom. And then Miami and the collective, and I know some people that were involved that had very harsh feelings over this. They never really liked Tyler as much as this after all of this happened. They had to re-up his deal. And I really believe in 23 that when he started to implode, and I thought we should have pulled him, I've always thought, are we only keeping Tyler Van Dyke because we paid him a lot of money? Is it just a pure business decision? I think Cristobal learned something that day. It was a very key moment for him. And my hope is that as a program and as a leader, Mario stands on those words. And I hope other coaches follow that example.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, it's interesting, man. We're in a we've been on a slippery slope, but I just think it's getting so far out of hand. I don't know what they're going to do to get this tube back into pace, as you say. I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, it's.
Hey, what do you think of Pate saying that they were talking about not playing in the playoff game? See, I think
I told you somebody's going to sit out.
Did not want to deal with this. Coach Heupel understands my team is not better without Nico. As erratic as he is, there's a reason why he's a starting quarterback. My other guys are backups. What he did not want was to wake up every day for the next 2 months having to take a phone call. Hey, the father's on the line, or the agent's father, or the cousin to the brother, the guy that cuts the hair of Iamaleava's father wants to talk to you. Oh, you know that last thing that we agreed upon? Well, we need this. I think he just said, no, let's cut it. Let's cut it.
I've also heard there's rumors coming out that I know that basically saying he wasn't fulfilling the collective.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't showing up.
So if that's the thing, here's my point, though.
That's where I'm at with it. Like,
this is why you take out the transfer rule and you take out the portal. Yeah. And it eliminates all this noise. And I'm even saying now, even be more harsh to get this thing kind of rallied back. Don't even give him a sit out. No transfer unless the coach that recruited you leaves and you get a one-time pass. You can transfer if the coach recruited you leaves. You can either follow him or go somewhere else. But don't allow him to transfer and even sit out, because when is the collective going to tell the school and the coach, hey, fuck you. I'm fucking done.
Well, that's what happened at Tennessee. What I have read and what I have been hearing on various podcasts, shout out to UT Nation, there was a group of boosters that said, hold on, we've been pushed far enough. And I'm going to be honest about this in terms of the deal being the deal. If Nico would have played like Heath Schuler in 93, or certainly like Peyton Manning after 95, he would have gotten a bump. He would have gotten a natural bump. When I look at the history of Tennessee quarterbacks, you look at Condridge Holloway, and a pioneer. You look at Tony Robinson, who would have been the college version of Randall Cunningham if he didn't run into issues. You certainly have Manning, Heath Schuler, Casey Clausen, Eric Ainge, a guy that I liked. I don't think that Nico played at that level of any of those guys. I really don't. He missed so many throws.
Even Helton. What was the name of Peyton Manning, the baseball player?
Yeah, well, Helton was more of a baseball player. I actually saw Helton play.
But he was a big-time high school kid.
Well, he was a southpaw, and I remember in 94, I went to the UCLA-Tennessee game. It was the opening weekend, and UCLA had J.J. Stokes, and Tennessee had this dual-threat black quarterback that everyone loved. He was a true volunteer. His name was Jerry Colquitt.
Hell yeah, Colquitt's legit. That motherfucker.
And then third play of his senior year, he waits 5 years to start.
Yeah,
I think the second or third play, he blows out his knee. One of the saddest things
that
I
was
ever saw.
Peyton Manning debut, right?
And so what happened was, Fulmer makes a decision. We're going to bring in Helton. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know what this guy's ever going to do. That was the true freshman year of not only Peyton Manning. Tennessee brought in another quarterback that ended up going to A&M. I think his name was Brandon Stewart. They were both top 10 quarterbacks. They went to the same school. It would never happen today. So they can't move the ball with Helton. And then all of a sudden, the Tennessee section starts buzzing. And I'm like, oh, here comes Manning. Here comes Archie. Well, I don't know if he's going to be any good. And then Fulmer hands off 3 times, 3 and out, and we never see him again. Fucking Fulmer.
Hey, that's the thing, Smitty. That's why the old school, back to this whole thing about respect and Draymond Green. Peyton was on the sideline waiting for his turn, dog. Nowadays, shit. Hey, not saying Peyton would, but these cats now that are 5-star, tab 5 stars, they're out of there. And I just don't know if you could do it anymore.
It's just different era, different power. It Peyton and them couldn't do that, so it's just a little difference. But my last thing before we move on is I'm with you guys. Listen, if I'm a player in today's era, I think I would be a realist. To Steve's point, I would look at what I did in the past season. And I was looking myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to go in here and demand more millions of dollars. Did I perform at a level that deserves more millions? No, I didn't. So I'm gonna be thankful that I got this agreement that I already signed and I'm making this good money already. I'm gonna get better this offseason. And then maybe
Darnell,
I'll ball out.
Darnell, that is a very, very good way of looking. What if someone offered you a lot more, though? That's the issue, because Chris Rock once said it. Chris Rock once said it, the philosopher Chris Rock. A man is only as faithful as his options. Just saying.
Well, if someone offers you a lot more, then I'll go to my head coach and say, hey, coach, man, you know I love Tennessee. I'm just being real with you. So-and-so offered me $4.5 million. Now, listen, I want to stay, but that's $4.5 million.
It's me. That's what's happening, though.
Conversation.
That's what's happening, though. That's called the negotiation.
That ain't really what's happening. Well, all right. So that means somebody lied to Nico, then, right? Is that what we're saying?
I don't know.
Or someone didn't tell Nico. Look, Smitty. To be fair to Nico, he may have not known about everything going on with his own career in life. I'm just telling you, the more I examine this and the more Tennessee volunteer guys that are on the boots on the ground talk about this, they actually think, look, they're not all off on Nico. They think a lot of this has to do with the adults. Now, this is the bad part of what you're saying. You know, most teams aren't even doing a spring game. They're certainly not televising it anymore. They do not want to advertise their underclassmen to be poached. I think that is sad. Why do we need a second transfer window? Get rid of this thing. Do a transfer window in late December, and then that's it. That's it.
We don't need another transfer window. Nah, it's unbelievable. Here's the thing. I gave him and his dad shit years ago when I saw it on social media because he was the number 1 QB in the country, blah, blah, blah. And he was out there in 7-on-7 out here at Poly in pajamas. And that was the first sign. And I'm like, what the fuck? What are we doing? This is the new thing, man. This is that social media.
Weird. I don't get it. That's weird. Like, these kids are weird.
I'm saying, bro, it is weird.
I don't think Tennessee was ever a good fit culturally because not only just the distance, but one of my favorite Miami road trips I've ever taken. This is years ago, 2002. We're the defending national champs. We go into Tennessee in November. For some reason, we had a SEC non-conference opponent in late November. When you go to Knoxville, everything is University of Tennessee volunteer centric. You see the power tee everywhere. There's orange everywhere. I mean, they live for this stuff. And I don't know if Nico understood this, being from out here where it's much more casual. When you are the starting quarterback of the Volunteers, you are among the 3 or 4 most popular and well-known people in that state, more than any politician, more than any entertainer. And I don't know if he was ready for it. And when you're bowing out of autograph sessions and other appearances, that's a bad. It ain't good.
This is why I'm so against paying them like this. I'm all for paying the player. We should get paid, and I say we because we never got to get paid. And I talked to Xavier McDaniel yesterday about this in specific, and we're pissed because we didn't get the opportunity, but we're happy for these kids, but not in this manner. Like, this is not the way to do it. And here's the reason why. This proves my point on why. Before, when it was just recruiting and relationship building, you better have a hell of a buy-in and sell me as the coach that you can come from inner city LA to Knoxville.
Yes,
because
right.
I've seen kids go from Long Beach in LA to Knoxville and come right the fuck back. Yeah. And I can only name I can only name you Dante Stallworth, who's from Sacramento.
Yep. Grant High
School, and Ruben Drones, right? Is that
what ended up going back to Oregon?
Went back to Oregon. Also from Grant. So I'm tripping. Like, there's not a lot of cats that went from California to Tennessee. There's been some other guys. I know a tight end, a couple of. They don't. It's a different world. And just like Knoxville kids coming to LA,
they barely do. They rarely do.
Come on, man.
I still remember game day. All us Miami fans that tailgated, and we're going down Cumberland Avenue, which leads into Neyland Stadium. What a scene!
Yeah, beautiful.
When they say it's different in the SEC, it absolutely is. And the people are great, really nice. We didn't get hassled. People are very, very friendly. But I'm just telling you, when you are a Tennessee Volunteer and you make a mark on that program and you behave the right way, you will always have someone to help you out, whether it's a job referral, helping you out on the side, if you need a favor. But you got to play the game the right way. And as soon as that there were reports on Friday, and by the way, shout out to Pete Nakos. You had a hell of a week. Pete Nakos, you've gone up in the estimation of a lot of people the way you're reporting. You nailed that one. As soon as that happened, I said to myself, no, you better play like Peyton Manning if you're going to be the volunteer quarterback next year now. You have lost the people.
Steve, this is why you don't pay freshman QBs.
I'm with you.
I'm just telling you.
Or any freshman at all.
Like, here's the issue. Yeah, my point. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean. But I'm just looking at, and I meant freshman, but the quarterback is in discussion. I'm trying to figure out why that wasn't the precedent, because that would even have changed this whole landscape. If you just said freshmen have to earn this dollar amount.
Yeah.
First, and that means you may sit a year, son. You may sit a year, son, and because we got a guy already here. Like, that's to me. That
Coach, I actually think as in your position, let's say there's a 5-star running back. You think he's going to be the next Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson. You give him this exorbitant deal, but you find out, and this is what a lot of kids find out at the next level: if you can't pass pro, you got to go, and so you can't play the kid, right? But if you're paying this guy more than the rest of the room, and all of a sudden the boosters who put up that money, they're going to call you, Coach, Johnny High School, what's going on here? Well, and then you have to say, well, hey, Bubba, you want your quarterback killed that's getting even more money? Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. This guy couldn't block his own shadows. Now it becomes an internal pressure. Why aren't you playing this kid? Easy. The kid doesn't know how to play football at this level. But when you pay a true freshman right off the block, I think redshirting becomes no option. You're not allowed to do it because the boosters are going to say, hey, Coach, we're not paying him to sit out.
Here's the problem, Steve. If we're going to eliminate walk-ons, though, we have a big problem. We have a big problem. Like, you can't to your point, you're not going to be able to do what you're asking, though, without the red shirt, with a walk-on being eliminated. You're going to have a lot less practice squad bodies, and you're going to have a lot less.
Well, Coach, aren't they raising the scholarship limit to 105 per team?
Yeah, this whole thing is fucked up, man.